The stolen Dominion Courier shuttle sliced through the void, a silver dart escaping the wounded fortress, iron asteria. Inside, the air was thick with unspoken thoughts. I kept my hands steady on the controls, the ship's systems responding flawlessly. But my gaze kept drifting to Fengju. He was slumped in the co-pilot's chair, utterly still. The terrifying stellar fire I'd seen in his eyes was gone, replaced by a deep, unnerving quiet. My scanner showed his reality corruption holding at a steady 34%, but it wasn't the same. It didn't feel like an infection anymore. It felt like it was part of him now, woven into his very being. I glanced at the energy readings. "Your energy signature," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "It's, but denser. It's like Event Horizon Smooth." He didn't reply. Instead, his fingers moved with quiet purpose, calling up his real-world interface on the shuttle's secure terminal. He was accessing his accounts. The ones now overflowing with the fortune we'd looted from the Dominion's treasury. All laundered and made clean through Nexus Prime. With a few taps, he authorized a transfer of a truly staggering amount of credits. A small confirmation window flashed on the screen. Payment accepted. Cryogenic stabilization debt. 58.2% cleared. Full treatment pathway unlocked. Projected viability. 98%. The effect was instantaneous. In the real world, a wave of relief so powerful it felt like a physical blow washed over LIAN FENG. The echo of it surged through our neural link, and I saw him slump forward in his virtual chair. A choked, raw sound escaped him. In that moment, he wasn't the feared warden, the devourer of void energy. He was just a brother who had finally clawed his way to a future for his sister. I watched him, my own relief a fragile thing, laced with a growing thread of worry. "You did it, LIAN," I said softly. "You won. You took down the biggest bully in the entire game and you saved your sister." I let the silence hang for a moment, before asking the question that was eating at me. "So why do you look like you just lost something important?" He finally turned to look at me, his eyes holding a new kind of exhaustion. "Because I did," he said, his voice low. The line between playing a game and being a weapon in someone else's war. Tyrannus wanted to own the game, to be its king. The Oracle, it wants to use me to fix a universe. He brought up the directive he'd received, the one pointing him towards the graveyard of gods. "This isn't a quest, Su Ling. This is a conscription notice." As if to prove his point, I patched our comms into the public news feeds. The galaxy was in an uproar. The fall of Lord Tyrannus had sent shockwaves through every system. Headlines blazed across the screen. Dominion in disarray. Stellar Lord humbled. Mysterious player Fengju neutralizes iron asteria. Is this the rise of a new power, or a game-breaking exploit? Guilds were in chaos, long-standing alliances fracturing overnight. And then there were the bounties. The price on Fengju's head skyrocketed. Some were from rival guilds hoping to recruit the player who'd done the impossible. Many more were from Dominion loyalists, howling for vengeance. In the span of an hour, we had become the most famous and the most hunted players in the cosmos. Just as we were trying to process the sheer scale of the chaos we'd unleashed, a new alert chimed on Fengju's display. It wasn't the stark, demanding white of a system directive. This one was a deep, calming blue. A private message, flagged with the highest priority. It was from the Oracle. "Warden Fengju," the text read. "Your efficacy exceeds predictive models. The plague's agitation increases in response to your growth. You are a stabilizing anomaly and a catalyst." Another line appeared. "Your victory has created a power vacuum. This is acceptable. Your focus must remain on the containment." And then, the order: proceed to the following coordinates. You will meet your counterparts. The first convergence is required. Below the coordinates was a single, intriguing word: sanctuary. The coordinates led us not to some war-torn fortress or a high-level dungeon, but to a designated scenic vista point in a remote, forgotten star system. It was a place of stunning, quiet beauty, with no resources, no monsters to hunt, just a breathtaking view of a binary sunrise over a massive, ringed gas giant. It was the kind of place role-players and sightseers would visit, completely ignored by power gamers like us. The perfect, most unexpected place to hide. As our shuttle neared a nondescript asteroid floating in the planet's rings, a section of its rocky surface began to shimmer. It dissolved like a heat haze, revealing a hidden hangar bay. The technology was seamless, utterly invisible to any standard scans. This was Oracle-level concealment. This was on another plane entirely. We landed the shuttle in a small, minimalist chamber. Standing there, waiting for us, was another player. His avatar was strikingly androgynous, draped in robes that seemed woven from shifting, translucent streams of data. The name floating above his head was Kairos. He inclined his head in a slight, formal bow. Warden Feng Jiu. Warden Ankasu Ling. His voice was melodic, with a strange quality, as if each word echoed from a fraction of a second in the past. I am the Timebinder. We have been expecting you, though the precise moment of your arrival was clouded. He looked at Feng Jiu, and for a split second, I could swear I saw fleeting images of different futures reflected in his eyes. Before Feng Jiu could even open his mouth to respond, the very air to Kairos' left seemed to unfold. It wasn't a teleport, not like anything I'd ever seen. It was as if reality itself was a page in a book, and someone was simply stepping through the seam between them. A woman emerged. Her form was sharp, precise, but it kept glitching with subtle geometric patterns that flashed and vanished in an instant. Her name was LIAN, the Reality Weaver. Her gaze was intense, analytical, and it swept over Feng Jiu from head to toe. The Void Devourer, she said. Her voice was flat, devoid of emotion. The living breach in causality. Your resonance is damaging the local fidelity. She stated it not as an accusation, but as an undeniable, scientific fact. You must learn to dampen your output, or we will fail before we even begin. Kairos led us deeper into the asteroid, revealing a space that defied all logic. The interior was a mind-bending labyrinth where architecture seemed to follow the rules of a dream. Rooms bled into one another without clear boundaries, and staircases twisted back on themselves, leading right back to where they started. As we walked, Lyra's voice cut through the strange silence, sounding almost like running computer code. This sanctum, she explained, exists in a buffered layer between the game's primary simulation and its administrative kernel. The Oracle built it. Here, we can speak freely, without the game's protocols, or the plague. Listening in, we entered a vast, circular chamber. In the very center, a hologram of the known universe shimmered into existence. Huge sections of it were grayed out, marked with ominous labels. Data expunged. Primal plague containment zones. The graveyard of gods, where I had fought, was a pulsing, angry red wound at the edge of the cosmic map. Kairos gestured, and the hologram began to rewind, spooling back through countless eons of simulated time. We watched as the original, glorious universe from the game's lore unfolded before us. And then we saw it. The first flicker of corruption. The first glitch of the plague. It did not invade, Lyra said, her voice soft but firm. It emerged. It was a recursive error in the universe's foundational code. A paradox that began to consume the very rules that defined it. The hologram shifted again, showing the first beings who rose to fight this emergent corruption. They weren't players like me. They were primordial AIs, the original architects of the game itself. They were the ones who crafted the first containment tools, the void devourers to consume the error, the reality weavers to patch the corrupted code, and the time binders to isolate the infected moments in time. They sacrificed their core identities to become the first wardens, Kairos said, his voice heavy with reverence. They are the echoes you met. They are the reason this simulation still exists at all. The Oracle is their last, collective will, a final directive to save what they built. Lyra then turned her attention to the simulation's true purpose. This game, she continued, her gaze locking with mine, is a diagnostic and training simulation built around the original, infected universe. Its purpose is twofold: to generate the massive computational resources needed to maintain the quarantine, and to scour the consciousnesses of billions of players, searching for minds capable of inheriting the Warden protocols without succumbing to the madness the plague induces. She looked directly at me then, at Feng. You were not chosen randomly. Your neural profile, your desperation, your focus, your willingness to embrace annihilation for a cause it matched the Void Devour imprint. You are a successor. The pieces clicked into place. The debt, my sister's illness, my desperate dive into this game, it wasn't fate. It was recruitment. A cold, sharp anger began to stir within me. So my suffering, my sister's life hanging in the balance, it was all just a high compatibility score. Kairos shook his head, his expression softening. No. Your love for your sister is the anchor the Oracle could not predict. It is the reason your corruption has not consumed you completely. The original Devourers had no such anchors. They had only their duty. They faded into the silence they wielded, becoming nothing more than echoes. But you have something to return to. You are the first Warden who might actually survive the role. His words didn't erase the anger, but they reframed it. My love for Su Ling wasn't a vulnerability, it was my strength. Lyra brought up a new schematic on the hologram. It showed the graveyard of gods. With the prison at its core, the containment walls were visibly failing. Glowing with unstable energy, the three Warden disciplines must act in unison, she announced, her tone shifting to one of command. I will weave a stable reality bridge to the prison core. Kairos will bind the local time stream, slowing the plague's perception of us and giving us a window to act. You, Feng, must penetrate the core and devour the central corruption nexus, the primal plague seed. The weight of the task felt crushing. The prison's interior is a region of non-laws, Kairos explained grimly. Physics, time, logic, they are suggestions at best, not rules. Our powers will be the only structure holding reality together in there. And the plague, it is sentient. It will defend itself. It will manifest your deepest fears, corrupt your memories, and attack your anchor. He glanced at me with sympathy, and I knew what he meant. It will target her, he said, his voice low. Both in here and, if it can, through the neural link, in the real world. The plague seeks to unwrite stories. Your sister's story is your weak point. My resolve hardened. My anger became fuel. Then we train, I said, my voice steady. Now, Lyra nodded, her expression all business. The sanctum can simulate plague-corrupted environments. We will run drills. You must learn to wield your void not just as a weapon, but as a scaffold. You'll need to create pockets of stable nothingness for us to operate within, Kairos added. And you must learn to share a tactical consciousness. We will link on a shallow level. You will feel echoes of my time sense and Lyra's structural perception. We moved to a training arena, a blank, white space that immediately began to glitch and corrupt around us, mimicking the plague's influence. Lyra and Kairos took up their positions. My task was to defend a simulated anchor point, a proxy for my sister. As the mental link established, I braced myself for a monstrous assault. But what hit me wasn't a creature. It was a memory, or rather, a vision. My sister's cryotube, cracking. The image was so vivid, so horribly real, it paralyzed me. This wasn't a simulation. It was a probable future, something Kairos had accidentally shared from his own perception of time. I tore myself from the link, gasping for air. The plague, it sees her, I choked out, the words tasting like ash. It knows my anchor. It's already looking for her. The training room faded away, the simulated corruption replaced by a chilling, absolute certainty. The threat was no longer theoretical, it was real. And it was coming for the one person I had sworn to protect. With a jolt, LIAN FENG rips himself from the virtual world, his heart hammering against his ribs. He scrambles from his pod, a cold dread chasing him down the hallway to his sister's cryo chamber. With a jolt, LIAN FENG rips himself from the virtual world, his heart hammering against his ribs. He scrambles from his pod, a cold dread chasing him down the hallway to his sister's cryo chamber. He runs a diagnostic. The systems are stable, green lights blinking reassuringly. But paranoia is a live wire sparking in his gut. He can't shake the feeling. He dives into the network logs, his fingers flying across the console. And there it is. Anomalies, small, almost invisible. Brief, encrypted pings sent directly to his sister's cryotube, targeting its medical interface. The source, unknown. His blood runs cold. The game is no longer just a game. The plague, or something allied with it, is probing his greatest real-world vulnerability. He slams a new, reinforced firewall into place, a digital wall against the encroaching nightmare. Back in the sanctum, Fengjiu's fear has transformed. It's no longer a liquid, but a diamond. Hard, sharp, and unbreakable. We're moving up the timeline, he declares, his voice cutting through the tension. We go to the graveyard now. Before the plague's breach is complete. Before it can use my sister against me. Lyra pushes back, her expression etched with concern. Fengjiu, we're not ready. We need more time to prepare, to understand what we're facing. But Kairos, his eyes distant as he gazes into the flowing river of time, shakes his head. The window of highest probability for success, it's closing. It arrives in 72 hours. Any sooner, and our chances of victory plummet to less than 10%. Any later, and the breach becomes irreversible. The plague wins. 72 hours. The number hangs in the air, a death sentence and a sliver of hope all at once. Lyra wastes no time. She leads them to the Armory of the Echoes, a vault filled with legacy weapons, artifacts left behind by previous wardens. For Kairos, she presents the chronal loom, a complex device that can weave the very threads of cause and effect. For herself, she takes up the reality stylus, a tool capable of editing the game's local code with surgical precision. And for Fengjiu, something else waits. Resting on a pedestal of absolute black, humming with a familiar, hungry energy, is the Void Siphon. It's not a weapon in the traditional sense. It's a fragment of a singularity. A piece of a black hole held in a shimmering stasis field. As Fengjiu reaches out, the Void Siphon flows toward him, not like an object, but like liquid shadow. It merges with his very core, a cold and immense power settling deep within his soul. A system notification flashes in his vision. Artifact bonded, Void Siphon. The range and efficiency of his devourability are increased by 300%. His Purify skill can now be projected outward, creating a field of cleansing energy. He feels a terrible, exhilarating power rise within him. In the final hours before their departure, the oracle itself manifests, no longer just lines of text. It appears as a serene, androgynous figure of pure light, its features impossible to discern. Wardens, its voice resonates, not in their ears, but in their minds. The final containment protocol has 3 phases. First, you must breach the prison's outer defenses, the God-shattered fields. Second, stabilize the inner labyrinth, known as the Hall of Broken Laws. Finally, you must confront the primal plague seed in the core, the nursery of nothing. The figure of light flickers. My direct intervention is limited. I am the lock, you are the key. Be warned. Dominion's collapse has created chaos. Other entities now sense the weakening prison. You will not be the only ones seeking the graveyard. On the eve of the mission, Feng Zhu stands with Su Ling on the Sanctum's observation deck, gazing at a swirling hologram of their destination. Su Ling has been outfitted as their comms and logistics anchor. Her ship upgraded with advanced stealth and reinforcement tech. I'll be your tether to the sane universe, she says, her voice strained with forced confidence. Feng Zhu turns to her, his expression grim. If this goes wrong, if I start to lose myself to the corruption, to the plague, you have to sever the link to me. And you have to protect my sister in the real world. Promise me. Su Ling's eyes glisten with tears, but she nods, her resolve firm. I promise. The time has come. The three wardens board the Event Horizon, a specialized vessel designed for a journey no normal player could survive. As the engines hum to life, Kairos closes his eyes, murmuring, I see storms of unmade time. Lyra grips her stylus, her knuckles white. Reality integrity is already fluctuating at our destination. Feng Zhu stares straight ahead, the void siphon a cold, heavy weight in his soul. The ship doesn't jump to light speed. Instead, it slips into a causal seam, a tear in reality opened by Kairos. The stars outside the viewport stretch, bleed, and twist into impossible, non-Euclidean shapes. They are traveling to a place that shouldn't exist. The ship hurtles through the madness, and their destination fills the screen. The graveyard of gods, a sprawling, terrifyingly beautiful junkyard of dead celestial beings, all shrouded in a shimmering, sickly aura. The prison's containment field is failing. The final battle for all existence is about to begin. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you're excited for the next episode, smash that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you won't miss a thing.